Hey, Jim.
Yes.
Sorry about that. WA3 Radio Sugar Lima. My name here is Frank. I just wanted to ask you about your antennas.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, did you say you're running two 10-foot mag loops?
Yes, sir. I've got one is on a rotor, but I've got it facing north and south, and the other is east and west, Roger. And they come to a 3-position rotary switch that I can do one or the other, or I can co-phase copy, Roger.
Cool. And now, are they homebrew, and how high up are they?
All right. The first one that I built is about 3 feet off the ground. It's just right there on the ground, but it doesn't seem to cause a problem being lower. I was thinking about moving that one up about 20 feet, but then I decided to build the second one, and it is up higher. It's probably about 20 feet off the ground, Roger.
Oh, very cool. And how much power are they capable to handle?
Well, I've been running my first one. I ran at 1 kilowatt. I was in the Kroger's thinking about different things, and I was in the vegetable aisle, and I saw me a can of medium red gold tomatoes, and I said, I do like tomatoes, and I got that can, and a little bit further down, I ran across a regular-sized can of cut green beans, and I said, that's pretty good, too. And then as I was checking out, I got a silicone placemat, trivet placemat, and I came home and ate the tomatoes and washed it out and took the cut green beans and put it in a thing for the wife. I went out to the shop and I put a bolt in both ends of the cans, and the little can fits inside the big can and it has about an inch clearance around it. So I took the Teflon trivet and cut it into strips just as big as the little can was tall, wrapped it around it three or four times, took some Gorilla Tape and taped it so it wouldn't come apart, stuffed the little can in the big can, hooked it up to the mag loop antenna, and I was at 8 megahertz, sorry. So it wasn't long before I had it tuned to 7.188, Roger.
Oh, very cool. I think I heard you in the past describe that, but I'm not sure if I ever worked you. And so you can move the little can in and out there and change the frequency?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And after an hour and a half of QSO, there was only a slight warming at 1 kilowatt, Roger.
Roger. So you can't cook an egg inside the can?
Not that hot, yeah, but, warm.
Cool. I'm just curious, do you have any info anywhere on building one of those?
No, just go to Kroger, get you a medium-sized can of red gold tomatoes, and then take you a standard-sized can, and there should be about an inch difference inside. In other words, the little can will have an inch of space between it and the big can as you just look at it. Get you some silicone at Kroger, Kroger's silicone mat, cut it into strips, wrap it around the little can, and see, 40 kVA arc is somewhere around an inch and a quarter, somewhere around that. So these two cans were separated physically by an inch, and I put the Teflon in there as to anchor the little can inside the big can, but also as a prevention for arc,
Awesome. Thanks for the description. And you got one of the bigger signals on the band, by the way, so the loops are proving themselves awesome there. I am running a 5-element wire beaming right at you, though, I think. Anyway, I appreciate the description, and you're doing some great work here with the help with the audio with various stations there, Jim. So I'll let you go. I'm just listening here and enjoying it. KC9, I'm in, by the way, Appomattox, Virginia. KC9VKV, WA3RSL.
WA3RSL, is that a Roger?
Radio Sugar Lima.
And what's the name, please?
Frank.
Roger, Frank. Well, we record on our Qso-Vlog Friday afternoon, so we have been recording. So if you want to check out your radio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and you'll be looking for a Qso entitled My Group Air Check 9/27/19. That's today's date. My Group Air Check 9/27/19, and we'll probably have this posted within the next couple of days. Roger?
Roger, Roger. Yeah, I'll check it out on maybe Sunday, and with the weekend coming up here, I'd appreciate that. You may have done that for me in the past, but I don't remember, and so I don't know if there's a way to look up my call letter on there. If I go to YouTube and put my call letter in, would it come up?
Probably. It would. It should, Roger.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'll let you go, Jim. Have a wonderful rest of the day and a great weekend. And I appreciate the info on the mag loops. Mag loops really fascinate me. I've worked some guys over in Israel using a mag loop out in his balcony, and he's usually about a 5x9. It's pretty cool. KC9 UKV WA3RSL.
Roger, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor. And Frank, I've run the test. Well, after I built the 10-foot, I decided the next one I was going to build a 22-foot mag loop. And then after reality set in, I decided I would just do a 17-foot because that's all the space I had, using the back of the house as the support. And excuse me. So I did work for 2 days, nibbling and chucking and chopping, trying to find meaning and reason in the SWR department on this 17-foot mag loop, and I was getting nowhere. I did a SWR profile, and I would chop a foot off, and I would have the same profile, which indicated to me that I had a severe elongation of a radiating surface, since I wasn't making any progress in the the SWR division as I'm chopping pieces off. So this went on for 2 days, and I really wanted to get everything together for this Friday show. So I decided I would just go back to what I knew, and when I built the first 10-foot magnetic loop, my Elmer said the magic number was 33 feet of diameter circumference, 33 feet circumference. So, and I double checked twice because we are cutting the transmission line there, and this is 1-inch stuff, pretty expensive, and I didn't want to make a mistake, so we did verify 2 or 3 times 33 feet. So I did cut it, and 33 feet, and I was running about a 5 on SWR on the frequency, and so then and I did a SWR profile, and I could see the SWR build as I went on up higher, which indicated that the loop was long. So I cut off 1.5 feet, and bingo, it was right on 0 SWR on frequency. Roger, Roger.
Yeah, Roger, great. Now, I'm just curious also, when you're using an antenna analyzer, we're right at the feed point?
I always run 50 feet of coax when I'm working on an antenna, just to be sure everything is, there's not going to be any surprises when you get on down the road. So I found 50 feet to be the best amount of cable when I'm conducting my tests. So I just had it pulled around, and it was actually, I was using a tipped over garbage can top to as my work table out there, Roger, and I had the analyzer there, and gosh, we partied, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, when I work outside, I got this old car table I use, all those whether it's that where. Anyway, I'm just curious though, wouldn't you want to use a multiple of the half wave times the velocity factor on the cable length?
No, I want the thing to work at whatever length I am, because being 50 feet, I know I'm going to be running somewhere around that length to make it serviceable and usable. So I want to demonstrate and be working on something similar. So when I would tune it, and I would tune it for 7.188. And this is tricky because, like I say, the first thing I was using was the red gold 40 kVA capacitor tuner, and that's not exactly a graduated scale there. That's a kind of you do this and go take a look, and then you do this, and like that. And it, I'm only using it for one frequency. If I were moving around the band, I could probably take that output and run it through an antenna tuner and go within reason wherever I wanted to go, and just shift frequencies on the antenna tuner, looking at the output of the mag loop.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, by the way, your 50 feet is about close to the multiple of the half-wave velocity factor. That's supposed to give you an accurate representation of the feed point at the remote spot. But if you needed 50 to reach, and that wouldn't make much difference at that frequency. Anyway, I just calculate that out for the heck of it. But anyway, it sounds cool. It's something I'd like to try someday. And you proved yours is working awesome. Are you running a little bit more than 100 watts?
Not using the mag loops for transmitting. I did my test. I was using Milford PA SDR pretty much as a test point, and looking at a shootout between my inverted V and the mag loop, and invariably the inverted V had the edge, and so I've already got a really hot situation. This inverted V is running a 0.01 SWR, and so I don't want to if I can't do a bunch better, then I'd rather just leave the transmitting to the inverted V. And this is more from the receive standpoint. The first time I looked at a 10-foot mag loop on receive, it happened to be a Canadian network going on, and the guy's audio was 7 dB hotter on the mag loop than it was on my inverted V. And at the same time, the mag loop was 3 dB quieter than the inverted V. So it turns out the good to the go was 10 dB difference between the signal. Roger?
Yeah, Roger, WA3RSL. Of course, there's some directivity on your inverted V. There's some best direction there. Anyway, by the way, what's my signal? Can you switch? I'm just curious, what's my signal difference between your inverted V and your mag loop?
I can't right now, but you're on my mag loop. You're about 15 over, Roger.
And GTO.
Okay, very good. Yeah, you're hitting 30 over. I'm on an IC 7300, no preamp on, and you're 30 over, so it's really strong. There's a breaker there for you probably. I'll go ahead and just listen here, Jim. Yeah, I appreciate that. I guess I misunderstood. I thought you were using the mag loops for transmitting, and I'm sorry about it. I misunderstood that. But, of course, they are excellent for receiving, and, of course, there's some commercial ones with preamps built in and all that stuff out there, too. But making homemade ones is even more fun. KC9VKV, WA3RSL. I'll just be listening for a while, Jim.
Roger, Frank. We went through the transmitter situation with the mag loops, and the inverted V was just usually hotter by and large, or it was a tie. So I just figured, might as well go with the inverted V on the transmit side, and let the mag loop do its thing on the receive side. And right now, I've just been playing with the co-phase aspect of those two loops. One is, like I say, loop 1 is north-south, loop 2 is east-west, and so you wouldn't think that they would actually combine on on co-phase, but they do. And regards the directionality of the 10-foot mag loop, you know, the bigger the size, the less directionality the loop shows, because it just you know, it gets so large to wavelength that it's no longer a defined lobes. Roger?
Yeah, Roger. It's kind of like the lines of force on the smaller one are tighter.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I did, well, it was a job just to figure out what's the front. So I did take my Elmer helped me one time, and I got it pretty close, I thought. And then I took, you know, one was on the rotor, so I took a field strength meter. I'm about 60 feet away from it, and I took a field strength meter and oriented the loop around 360 degrees, and I could see the pattern ebb and flow go, and I could see the main hotspot, and I would come back through again, and it would be reciprocal. It would be the same thing, you know. So that was the main radiation lobe, which tended to be about 15 degrees off the direct side angle. Roger?
Roger. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. And, of course, I think you'll get cases, and you already know this, you get signal-to-noise ratio is the important thing on the weak signals. And with those loops, you probably have cases where you're hearing way better on the loops than your inverted V. But anyway, excellent. I think there was somebody breaking in there. You want to pick him up, Jim?